The date is June 16th, 2021. The time is 0850 a.m. Present in the Internal Affairs Building are Officer Eric Toomey, SPO Rep Michael Boyd, Sergeant Ray Villegas, and myself, Sergeant Faria. The purpose of this investigation is to conduct an interview of Eric Toomey, who is an employee with the Sacramento Police Department in the capacity of officer. This is an administrative investigation on the charges against Officer Lundgren and Officer Lawrence for conduct unbecoming, discourtesy, discrimination, force, and neglect of duty, in which you may be a witness. Do you understand that this is an administrative investigation only?
Yes.
The results of this investigation could lead to disciplinary action up to and including termination of the employees responsible. Do you understand this?
Yes.
Based upon the authority vested in me by the Chief of Police, I'm ordering you to cooperate with this investigation. This means that you must be truthful in all of your statements and answer all questions fully and honestly. Also, you are ordered to provide at this time all information you may know regarding this incident. Failure to answer a question or failure to answer it truthfully and fully will be considered a lack of cooperation that could subject you to disciplinary action up to including termination for insubordination. Do you understand this?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Prior to the interview, I provided you with a trespass crime report 20-301-386, a CAD call for 301-386, and a clip of your body-worn camera. Have you had enough time to review this material?
Yes, I have.
Okay. For the record, can you please state and spell your first and last name?
Sure. First name is Eric, E-R-I-C. Last name is Toomey, T-O-O-M as in Mary, E-Y.
And did you graduate from the Sacramento Police Academy?
Yes, I did.
And what year was that?
2015.
Did you spend any time prior to the academy as a student trainee or a CSO?
CSO after the academy, so no.
So you graduated the academy and then you went as a CSO for a short amount of time.
Yep, and then was upgraded.
Upgraded, okay. Did you have any prior law enforcement experience prior to SAC PD?
No.
And what is your current rank?
Officer.
And how long have you been an officer now?
Just over 5 years.
Have you had any specialized training since you've been an officer here at SAC PD?
I went to FTO school. I went to TOPS. I've gone to gang training. A couple different handgun courses. I think I went to a leadership class. So, yes.
Okay. And are you currently a training officer?
Yes.
And how long have you been a training officer for?
Just under a year. Just over a year.
Okay.
About a year.
And have you ever been put in a position as an acting sergeant?
Yes.
And how long have you been put in that position for?
As short as 2 days, and then I was the acting admin sergeant and sergeant. So 4 or 5 months.
And would you agree that all Sacramento police employees are responsible for being knowledgeable and familiar with their general orders, department manuals, and training that they've received?
Yes.
I'm going to talk about your relationship with Officer Lundgren. What is your relationship with Officer Lundgren?
Coworkers.
And how long have you worked with him?
I've never been on the same team, but I mean, we would overlap between swings and graves for maybe like 2 years.
So 2 years on and off, you had overlapping
Hours.
shifts and hours, and you'd work with him. You'd see him on calls at times.
Sporadically, yes.
Okay. And have you ever been his acting supervisor?
No. Well, yeah, I guess in the small overlap, but I never disciplined him or anything. But yeah, I was technically 1 SAM 5 after 3 SAM 5 gave the channel.
Okay, so at certain times during an overlap, you may be his acting supervisor
yes.
while you were taking those duties on.
Yes.
Okay. And so you've observed him on calls for service?
Yes.
If you were evaluating him, how would you say he is overall as an officer?
Good. Yeah. and he does what he's supposed to do, and he's loyal to his guys, so no complaints.
Okay. Have you ever had any concerns about his work product?
No. But I haven't been around enough to give you a full evaluation on that.
No problem. Have you ever had any concerns about how he treats the public?
No, he can be blunt. Not necessarily how I would do things, but I've never been there going, oh, that's wrong. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have any specific examples?
Not off the top of my head. I think it's just part of his personality. He definitely lets you know what he's thinking, which, I appreciate. Like I said, it's just not how I conduct business, but...
So by blunt, you mean like forward about
Mhm.
what he's telling people?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever seen him lose his cool or be unprofessional on a call?
Not that I remember.
Have you ever heard anyone talk poorly about his police work?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like maybe I think because he can be so forward, sometimes it rubs people the wrong way. But never anything of like a unethical or immoral action, just think we don't like his personality.
So it would be safe to say they don't really. It's not his it's not his workload or work ethic. It's his personality that rubs people the wrong way.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Have you ever had any reason to question Officer Lundgren's integrity?
No.
Okay, I want to move on to your relationship with Officer Lawrence. What is your relationship with Officer Lawrence?
Coworkers.
And how long have you worked with him?
Same kind of deal. He was on a different team, but I would say just overlap maybe like a year and a half.
Okay. So at certain times you'd be on calls with him because your shift would overlap with his?
Yes.
Okay. And on that same overlap, have you ever been his acting supervisor?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you were evaluating him, how would you say his overall work product is?
Good. He's a hard worker.
Have you ever had any concerns in regard to how he treats the public?
No.
Have you ever seen him lose his cool or be unprofessional on calls?
No.
Have you ever heard anyone talk poorly about his police work?
About his police work? No.
How about his personality?
Some people have again, Connor is very forward, and it can rub people the wrong way.
Yes. Yeah.
But in terms of his police work as an officer, he's solid.
Okay. Have you ever had any reason to question his integrity?
Nope.
Okay, now I'm going to talk about October 10th, 2020, okay, the shift.
Mm-hmm.
Were you on duty on October 10th, 2020, around 21:54 hours?
Yes, I was.
And what was your unit identifier?
Double check real fast. Should be 2 Alpha 53. Yeah, 2 Alpha 53.
And was that with Officer Stevens?
Yes.
Victor Stevens, correct?
Yes.
And what area were you working this evening?
Meadowview, specifically 5A.
Okay, so 5A. Were you responsible for the area of Delta Shores?
Yes, that's in 5A.
And that's 8136 Delta Shores Circle, correct?
Yes.
Can you describe that area of Delta Shores? The makeup of it, what is it? What
sure.
is it?
It's a large shopping complex, so it extends from, basically it's bordered by Consumnes River Boulevard on the north, and it extends south to like a levee. And you have a movie theater, restaurants, there's a Walmart, there's an RC Willey. There's a lot of large department stores as well. like an In-N-Out. So it's an area where lots of people would congregate to go shopping.
Okay. And can you describe some of the common issues that are troubling the area at that location during this time frame?
Yeah. Typically, because this would have been, I believe, a Saturday night. So typically on Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night, large amounts of juveniles would congregate, typically outside the movie theaters. Or like when you walk out of the movie theater doors, there's a road that goes straight down, and there's a lot of different restaurants. They would congregate in that area and just they would get in fights with each other and film the fights, block traffic, and it wasn't uncommon for the movie theater to close down early, or basically for security at the mall to basically want everybody off the property, cause businesses to close early, and it had become a reoccurring issue essentially on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights.
Okay, so what you're saying is it affected the businesses in the area?
Yeah, enough that we actually had a overtime car that would work there Fridays and Saturdays.
And I'm sorry, did you say the businesses would actually have to close down?
Yeah, before. So typically, like on this night in particular, the movie theater closed early. All retail and restaurants closed early. The only one that refused to close was In-N-Out, because they felt they were insulated. They could operate just through their drive-through. But everybody else locked their doors and said we're done for the night.
And what is the normal response for the Sacramento Police Department when we're dealing with those problems out there?
Usually just get them off the property. So just maintain a high visibility presence, give ample warnings. A lot of them are juveniles, so it's like you need, please call your parents, call a sibling, call an Uber. You need to get a ride out of the area. The mall's closed. You can no longer be here. And through that process, we give them warnings that if you're still here and we finally decide to issue notice of trespass, you'll be issued a notice of trespass, and you can never come back here, again. On this night in particular, we were there for a long time using our public address systems on the car. There were, I'd say, no less than 10 officers on scene. It definitely absorbs our resources to go out there, and essentially it's, I guess a good analogy, like herding cats. You move them from one location and they wander to a different part of the mall, and then you move them from there, and then eventually after you've moved them to 3 or 4 different spots, they kind of trickle out, or their rides arrive and they leave. That's the typical response.
And is it normal to detain subjects out there and provide them with notice of trespass?
Yeah.
Okay. And do you sometimes detain these subjects to issue the notice of trespass?
Oh, yeah. You mean in general, practice? Yes, yeah, you have to detain them to issue them the paperwork.
And sometimes do you detain them, when you're detaining them, do you detain them in handcuffs?
Depending on the circumstance, yes.
Okay. And are they in custody when you detain them for issuing them a notice of trespass?
I would say it depends on the circumstance, but if you're detaining them, you have some probable cause to detain them for a crime.
Okay. If there was a situation where you were detaining a subject for issuing them a notice of trespass and a 148 type of situation occurred, would they be in custody at that point?
So you go to issue a 602 and then some form of resisting occurs, yeah, you'd be in custody at that point.
And at that point, when you decide to release that subject from your custody, what would the normal protocol be as far as releasing them?
And this is assuming you're charging 148, correct?
Sure.
Okay. If you're charging a 148 and a notice of trespass, so they'd be issued their 602 notice. And then if you're doing the 148 and you're not, for whatever reason, you're not booking in jail, they would either be issued a citation and released on scene, or if for whatever reason the 148 is decided to not be charged, you're going to issue an $149 at the very least, just to say, hey, look, we're deciding not to charge $148, but you're still not allowed to come back to the property.
Okay. Regarding this incident, do you recall hearing or seeing 2 calls for service at Delta Shores on December 10th, 2021, around 21:09 hours?
December 10th?
I'm sorry, October 10th.
Yes, I do recall this.
Okay. And for the record, the call and the report that I gave you, is that the call that you're referring to on that night?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And after reviewing the call and the report, does that refresh your recollection of that night?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Can you tell me what the call read? And you can take a peek at it.
Oh, sure. Actually, this one would be better.
Just like what kind of call was it and a couple of details.
Oh, sure. Large group of juveniles loitering in front of the movie theater. And then per the CAD call, it says approximately 70 juveniles on scene. And that they were, quote, messing around and in a physical fight.
Okay, and were you dispatched on this call?
Yes, I was.
And do you recall if there were other officers that were dispatched on this call as well?
Yes, there were several.
Several. And were there, you said earlier that there might have been a TAC unit, or there was a unit that was out there
Yes,
designated?
I believe there was.
Okay. Do you remember some of the names of the officers that responded out there with you that night? You don't have to go through all of them, just a few of them that you remember.
Myself and Officer Stevens, Officer Lundgren, Officer Lawrence. I can't remember his name, but it was Officer Menley, I believe, was out there. Because it was right at when Graveyard had logged on and Swing Shift was still kind of in full force, so it was a mix of both our teams that were out there. I think Officer Kaiser was out there. For more names, I'd have to double
That's
check
okay.
that. If we can't call.
That's all right. Were you an acting supervisor this evening?
No, I was not.
And who was the supervisor responsible for that area that evening?
Sergeant Fox.
And did you and Officer Stevens respond to this call?
We did.
Can you give me an overview of what you and Officer Stevens did when you responded to the area? What was your course of the evening?
From what I recall, we arrived on scene, and there was a large group in front of the movie theater. And as additional officers responded, we just started issuing public address announcements saying you need to leave, the mall's closed. Basically just directing them to the east towards Delta Shores Circle, I think was the street that runs south out right there. Because all they had to do was just exit the property. That's all security was requesting. And I think we have the notice on file that says we're allowed to issue our own 602s there as well. But yeah, just made multiple announcements. And I just kind of relayed the info back to Sergeant Fox every now and then.
Okay.
Because we knew if we left, it would just be a return call for service. So we wanted to make sure everyone left and we didn't have to go back out there.
Okay, so you were on the loudspeaker?
Yeah, using the public address system on the car. Several officers did.
Okay, and throughout the night you maintained a communication with Sergeant Fox?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. At some point, did you come in contact with Officer Lundgren and Lawrence?
Yes.
And can you explain your interaction with them?
I think we ran into them fairly early on the call. And they were doing what everyone else was doing, just working on essentially escorting people off the property, utilizing the PA. And I think several of us, just the car number, we got out on foot and just started walking around. And that actually seemed to have a much more positive effect because no one wanted to talk to us. So they were walking away and we just kind of walked people to the edge of the property.
Sure. Do you remember Officer Lundgren or Officer Lawrence explaining that they detained someone by the name of?
I remember they had detained somebody. Even from watching it, I couldn't tell you who's in the car. I don't remember which, because there were two people that were issued a notice of trespass, and I couldn't remember if it was or the other gentleman.
Okay. Regarding the first person that they detained, there's a subject. His name was. Did they explain to you anything about why he was detained? Do you recall?
Is it fair to ask if it's regarding this video? Okay.
Not in particular this video here, but they detained two people.
Yeah, I just can't remember if they detained them at the same time or if it was that was the other gentleman's name.
Yes.
I can't remember if they detained first, and then
Okay.
I don't think it was at the same time.
That's no problem. Do you recall what they told you about the subject that they detained first? Do you recall what they detained him for?
I think just refusing to leave at that point. He's issued a notice of trespass.
Okay. And do you know how long they detained him for?
No, that I do not know.
Okay. At some point during the evening, did you become aware that Officer Lawrence had to take somebody to the ground while detaining them?
Yes, it was. He told that.
Okay, and would this be subject or do you recall that possibly being the name?
It's either
Okay.
that or like I said, I don't remember.
Okay, no problem.
So I didn't really talk to either.
But you did become aware that he took somebody to the ground, correct?
Yes, I was.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and just play this video. I know you've seen it, but I want to just show you real quick, and I'll ask you a couple questions, okay?
Sure.
Something about rashing a 211 suspect or something.
Uh-oh. Somebody's calling for him. Hello, it's God.
What do you think? Paper on that?
Yes. Wait, did you take him to the ground?
Yeah.
Yes,
We have
100%.
to write paper when we take something to the ground.
No, but
Give me the correct line here.
yes.
So we're gonna sup to this.
I would. Yeah, either today or first thing
I
tomorrow.
got a fucking DUI on my mind too.
State deal refuses property.
Yeah, when we went after this,
We will
it's
just-
like, come on, because he just was saying there.
We will keep it very generic. We'll just say at the same time, multiple announcements were issued for the entirety of the shopping center. The following subjects refused to leave nor issued a notice of trespass. And then I'll put C your sub for further. And then that covers everything. So I would say yes, just to see what it yourself. Not it's not like you did anything wrong, but
Besides, there's technically not. We'll go to the.
Theaters and different.
Let's go to.
This is your superhero.
Let's go to.
All right, I'm stopping the video. 1 sec here. Just for the record, this is video 2020-10-11 TTOM06:33:030 Axon Body 2 X-Ray 8110960. Is this a clip from your body worn camera that night?
Yes.
Thank you. Did Officer Lawrence explain the circumstances regarding taking the juvenile to the ground?
Yes.
And from that conversation, what did you take from that conversation and him telling you that he took somebody to the ground?
I mean, based off what he was saying, it didn't seem necessarily like a reportable use of force. You know, basically with what our geo state, it wasn't reportable. But just kind of given the nature of, especially policing in 2020, it never hurts to document an incident. We were taught that in the academy. I was taught that in field training. It takes 5 minutes to write one paragraph to essentially kind of explain what is going on. So, like I said, once he kind of explained what happened, we all agreed that yes, you should document it. I wrote just kind of like a generic overall observations because it was our area of responsibility and it was graveyard hours. So, as a courtesy to them, like I said, I'll take the geo and just kind of do the general 602, and then because I didn't witness them take them to the ground, I said you guys need to write that, and then I'm assuming they wrote a supplement to that report detailing their actions.
Okay. Did they mention anything about the subject or themselves being injured in any way?
No, not that I recall.
Did anybody else that was out there tell you about what had occurred when they detained the subject?
Not that I remember. I want to say Officer Lawrence was the one that kind of really keyed me into what was going on.
And he he asked you for guidance. Is that correct?
Yes.
And from what I'm understanding, you guided him into writing that in the report. Correct?
That I gave him guidance, or just to write paper?
Yeah, he asked you if he should write paper on that. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you told him yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Were you surprised when Officer Lawrence asked you if you should write paper on that?
No, he definitely solicits advice and information to make sure he's making the proper decision going forward. So I think that's something that's pretty standardly taught too. Like if you don't know something, find somebody who does.
And without your guidance, do you think he would have written paper on this incident?
I mean, knowing him, I would think he would have. I firmly believe he would have come to that, but it's just speculation on my end.
And you stated before you did not see him take the subject to the ground in any way, right?
No.
Okay. Did you ever talk to the subject that he had detained?
Not that I recall.
Okay. While you were speaking with Officer Lawrence and Officer Lundgren, did you feel that the person that they had detained was in custody?
At that point, yeah. I mean, that would be a logical conclusion.
What would you conclude that he was in custody for?
At that point, it'd be 602 and 148.
Did either Officer Lundgren or Officer Lawrence discuss anything regarding 849 being the subject?
Not with me.
Okay. With anybody else that you know of?
I'm going to assume they called the supervisor and probably had a conversation with him about it.
Okay.
If my memory serves me correctly, I think we left before it got to that portion. It was kind of like, this isn't our deal at this point. We'll go handle other calls for service.
And you don't know how long that subject was detained, do you?
No, I mean, I could give you like a ballpark, but that would be
What would your ballpark be?
maybe 15 to 30 minutes. I
Okay.
think, if I remember correctly, the issue was they're juveniles, and you can't necessarily just release a juvenile that late at night. Somebody has to be there to take custody of them.
Okay.
So whether it be parents, family members, whatever. So I think that was part of the issue was releasing them, because I don't know if it was curfew or not. But regardless, you can't just, it's not standard practice to just let a juvenile go late at night.
Okay. And did you only speak with Officer Lawrence about this incident, or did you also speak with Officer Lundgren?
What the video showed, I think, was the extent of our conversation, or at least that I remember.
Do you recall speaking with either Officer Lawrence or Lundgren at any point after the call?
After the call?
Yeah, like following that night or the next day or anything?
No, I don't, because they would have gone back to the station after this. I would have continued my patrol shift, and then depending on whether it was a workout day or whatever the next day, I saw them sporadically, so no, I don't remember talking with them.
And you had mentioned this earlier, you did a general report,
Mm-hmm.
and they were going to do portions of that report, add to that report. Is that correct?
Yes, they're going to essentially add in what they did.
Okay, and that would include if there were any citations or if there were any trespass forms or their supplements. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Or any actions they took would be included in that.
Okay. And how did you finish your part of this call?
Right after this, I'm almost positive I gave the district sergeant a phone call just to kind of update him on essentially the finality of the call. And then we cleared the call and went to go handle other calls for service. Because at that point the group had basically dispersed, and then there was no need for us to hang around.
Did you speak with the sergeant after? Do you recall speaking with the sergeant after you spoke with Officer Lawrence and Officer Lundgren regarding the subject that was taken to the ground?
I mean, just based off how I normally do things, I would like to think I did, but I can't 100% say I made that phone call and that's what we talked about.
Do you know if the Sergeant Fox, if he spoke with Officer Lundgren and Officer Lawrence that evening?
I'm gonna assume he did.
Okay.
He's really good about that.
Okay. Do you know how this call resolved? How did it end?
With the exception of what we're talking about, I mean, the majority of subjects either found a ride out of the area or, they left. That was essentially, right, we weren't leaving and they decided they didn't really want to deal with us. Plus, once the mall closed down, there's really nothing to do anyway, so I'd say pretty much everyone just left, and we didn't, as far as I recall that night, we didn't have a return call for service.
Okay.
At least on graveyard hours.
And as far as your knowledge from being on scene, how many people were detained that evening?
For my report, just 2.
And were those 2 subjects detained by Officer Lawrence and Lundgren?
May I look at the report?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Looking at my report, I would say yes, because both notices of trespass were issued by Officer Lawrence.
Okay. And at any point after this evening and before you were noticed to come here to Internal Affairs, did you review any part of that report?
Yes, he sent me an email on.
Yeah, prior to that notice, that email.
Oh,
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
From the date that date this occurred, and then prior to getting that email from me, did you ever review this report that you can remember?
No, that would be very unusual.
Okay. Do you have anything else to add regarding that evening?
No, I mean, I'm kind of struggling to remember, the bulk of it because they all kind of blend together. But
Okay.
no, I mean, it was just a pretty standard evening in terms of dealing with that, because that had just that become a regular thing the majority of the summer. If it becomes enough issue that they're willing to pay overtime to have officers out there,
Yeah.
that means, right, there's a significant enough issue.
Do you recall any irate parents coming to the scene or making phone calls in to the comm center that evening by chance?
One of the subject's mothers called into the comm center. I don't think she wasn't on scene, but there's I don't know when I looked at the CAD call earlier, but I also remember reading it that night that her son, I don't remember if it was, they already had an active lawsuit against the department. And I remember reading that prior to talking with Officer Lawrence.
Okay.
But as terms of on scene, no, I don't remember any, I guess I don't remember anything unusual in terms of like people. There's always people yelling at you and stuff like that, but nothing. I think most parents were pretty appreciative that we just said, hey, you need to come get your kids instead of us taking custody of them.
Okay. Anything?
No.
Mick, do you have anything?
No, sir.
Okay.
Is there anything else relating to this matter that we have not covered that needs to be added, clarified, or changed? And if so, I'm ordering you to provide that information now.
No, not that I recall.
After you leave this interview, should you remember anything that is different from or in addition to the information that you've given today, I'm ordering you to contact Sergeant Villegas immediately. I'm also ordering you not to discuss this matter with any other department employee. Do you understand these orders?
Yes, sir.
Time.
Yeah. The time is 0925 hours, concluding interview.